So when we bought our house, it had one of those fancy underground sprinkler systems where water gets sent to a couple of valves in the yard and then that gets distributed to the rest of the yard, and these little sprinklers pop up in the middle of the night and they water your yard. Well, one day I happened to notice that there was this pool of water where some of the valves are in our front yard. And so I posted this on my Instagram stories. The other thing I have going on here at the house, if you can see that, this is the irrigation system, like the sprinklers for my lawn at my house. And obviously I've got a leak there somewhere. I've called no less than, my hands are gross, sorry. I've called no less than 3 people to come take a look at this, and the best I can do is August 17th, and I don't got time for that. So guess what I'm gonna do tomorrow? And guess what I'm gonna YouTube and try to figure out. Now, I consider myself a pretty handy person, but when it comes to plumbing, that's my nemesis, that's my kryptonite. But I also just couldn't stand the fact that I had to wait like nearly a month before I could get this fixed. That was like, it was worth investigating to at least achieve getting this thing fixed sooner. Okay, so this is an update from the story from yesterday. I've watched several YouTube videos and this is where we're at. I've removed the moisture barrier, and according to the fluid mechanic dynamics of this natural cleansing agent for my lawn, I still don't know what I'm doing. Pretty much what I've done is I've dug a little bit, I've turned the water on, I see where the water's coming from, the direction that it's coming from, I turn the water off, I dig a little bit more, I turn the water on, where's the water coming from, I dig a little bit more, and that's how the day's gonna go. Now, it's one thing to like dig in the dirt and just kind of assess what you have. It's another thing when you actually start removing pieces of your system. I've committed, like we've broken things. We've cut things and we've broken things. I've made it worse than it was before. And of course, it's not just like a pipe, just like in the middle of a pipe somewhere that you can just easily like cut and replace. Like, I know how to do that. No, this is the manifold. That's a fancy word that I've learned this weekend, the manifold, which means really tight quarters. And I'm still not sure what I'm doing. And what I discovered is that where the leak was coming from was not like just on a straight pipe somewhere. It was right in the crease of one of the T's that feeds into all of these valves. So for the next couple of days, like, this consumed me. I would sleep, I would eat, I would go to work, and then I would come home and I would focus on this. Day 3 of the fix. I've spent about a half hour making that concoction. Now, I think that when you tackle a project like this, there's all of these highs and lows, and throughout the whole thing, you start off going, I'm not sure I can do this. And then you learn a couple of things and you try a couple of things, and those weren't colossal failures, so you continue to advance forward. And at some point, you actually think, man, I might actually do this. Like, I'm making some progress. This is starting to look like a solution. But with the serious highs come the serious lows. This is how the story ends. I built that manifold. I measured like how much space needed to be in between each one and how much the pipe would go in. Like, I was super precise on all the measurements and built that custom to length. And I installed it backwards. That part's supposed to go this way. I waved the white flag. I had to replace all 4 of those valves because I cut so far up close to the valves. There was nothing, I couldn't just cut the thing out and start again. That was more than I could handle, and I was already emotionally spent. So that's it. I failed. And the question becomes, okay, I'm mad with myself, but is failure okay? And I think that it is, because I think with everything in life, I mean, you have a chance to make it worse, and that's always the concern, but you also have a chance to make it better. But I've heard it said this way, sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. It wasn't all for naught. I did learn some things. I did discover where the leak was coming from, so when the guys did come eventually to fix it, I could say, here's a big hole, this is what's wrong. It was pretty simple from that point. It was expensive, but it was simple. And after I cleared my headspace a little bit from just being so frustrated at that situation, got a little bit of sleep, I actually had one more idea. So if you've seen any of my videos on the lawn sprinkler system, you know that I am here against my better judgment, but I have an idea. I'm probably in for heartbreak and disappointment, but I have an idea. Okay, I'm actually optimistic that this is going to work. I'm not going to show you that, because if it doesn't work, I'm going to be really embarrassed. So if you see a lawn sprinkler pop up and the next slide, we fixed it. If there's not a story afterwards, then I am in my bedroom alone crying again. Okay, before I show this to you, I can explain, because I grabbed this like drain tube, this flexible tubing, and then this little clamp jobber. And I was like, okay, the only thing that's gonna set me back is if the pressure is too much for this. It was supposed to be a temporary fix until at least the guys could get there and fix it for real. It was worth a shot.